Hey everybody, coming to you about a week after the trade deadline. Giants are playing much better baseball since the deadline passed, which is weird timing for them because if they had played this way, if they had had that Mets series at home instead of at Citi Field, Tyler Rogers is probably still here. Camilo Doval, maybe Mike Yastrzemski. There's probably no big sale at the deadline. If they had played like this heading into the deadline instead of going 0-6 at home against the Mets and Pirates, but it is what it is. They did go 0-6. They did trade three veterans, three of their longest tenured players. They did get eight players back, and I do want to touch on some of those guys before the Giants get back home and try to continue to stay in this race. Those guys are playing. We've seen some of them. We've seen one of them at the big league level already. I think we'll see at least one more this season. But just wanted to briefly kind of go through what they got back and how you should feel about what they got back at the deadline, starting with Jose Butto, who we have seen already. He went straight to the big league roster, pulled a reverse Tyler Rogers. He was with his team with the Mets, and Rogers flew to New York with the Giants after the trade, and he flew back home with the Mets and then faced his former teammates while with the Giants over the weekend. It went pretty well. He threw well, especially I think on Sunday. He got him out of a jam, double play, three strikeouts. He has thrown well so far as a Giant, which really should be no surprise. 3.47 ERA. This year, 3.40 in the big leagues. You look at some of the advanced stuff, the peripherals, everything is pretty solid. Looks like the Giants got a pretty dependable arm here. I think the main thing we've seen with him so far is a really good slider, which this year 182 average against his slider. So no surprise there. And the important thing here is he's under team control through 2030. So we will see what happens with Rodgers in the offseason. Certainly there will be, I think, a lot of rumors about can they bring him back and trade him for a few months and then bring him back, have him be part of next year's pen and the year after that. But regardless, they got kind of a short-term fill in here and someone who is under team control for a while and looks like he will be able to help them in some respect. So I think that looks like it's a pretty good part of that deal so far. And then the rest of it has really looked good in AAA. Blade Tidwell, Drew Gilbert, they both went to AAA. Tidwell started on Tuesday for the first time. He was really good early on. Struck out the side early, five strikeouts through the first two innings, ended up with nine in 5 innings, two earned runs, but not a lot of hard contact. Hit 98.5 miles per hour, which is kind of the norm for him. Hit 99 when he was in the big leagues earlier this year. His slider and sweeper were really good on Tuesday. I watched a lot of that game that the River Cats played. Included another Bryce Eldridge homer, by the way, which we talk about a lot on Giants Talk. We will continue to update him there. But yeah, 11 swinging strikes on the slider and sweeper. I think at one point he had like seven swings, seven whiffs on his sweeper in the first few innings. So it's a pitch he used a lot for his strikeouts. Pretty wide arsenal that he has shown so far. He threw a cutter last night as well, but really the fastball and the two variations there of a slider, those look like they will get him to the big leagues. And whether that is a starter, I will find out. The Giants have an opportunity to use him there. Landon Roop is on the way back. Carson Wisenhunt will get some starts here down the stretch, but I think they will need somebody else to slide in at some point in the second half, and they're going to continue to develop him as a slider, as a starter, because that is what he has done in the minor leagues. But you can also kind of see a really good starter package for being a dominant reliever if that ends up being the case. I mean, good fastball, good breaking ball. He has the two pitches he needs, just needs better command, which has been an issue for him in the minor leagues, which you would expect from someone who throws 99 and was available at the deadline. But yeah, he is somebody who I think they're excited about. A 2022 draft pick, so he's on the same timeline as a lot of these guys. He was taking 14 picks ahead of Carson Wisenhunt out of Tennessee, where he was a top pitching prospect going into his junior year. So that looks so far like the Giants did pretty well in terms of the pitchers there. And Drew Gilbert, he has hit the ground running as well with AAA. He had a walk-off double on Tuesday, had a triple in his first game, off to a good start in Sacramento. Drew is a St. Paul, Minnesota native who also went to Tennessee. A lot of Tennessee guys. I asked Buster about that on a recent Giants talk. What's going on there? First round pick Tennessee, traded for two Tennessee guys. They seem to like him, or someone down there who's scouting down there. Michael Holmes is from North Carolina, so maybe he's scouting a lot of these guys down in the South. The Giants amateur scouting director seems to like a lot of these guys. But anyway, Drew was taken 28th overall in 2022, right ahead of Reggie Crawford, two picks ahead of him. He was traded to the Mets for someone named Justin Verlander when he went back to Houston. He was a consensus top 100 prospect. He played in the futures game. Really good prospect profile. 812 OPS in the minors. Hit 18 home runs in 2023, but is not generally a power guy or has not been a power guy. He's a bit of a smaller guy, but high on base percentages, very low strikeout rate, which is what Buster has seemingly targeted since he took over, especially when you look at the draft and some of their prospects. He can play center field. He can play all three positions. He pitched a little bit in college, so he has a plus arm. And I think ultimately settles in right field here. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him at some point, maybe when they return home, maybe the next couple months. He's played a fair amount in AAA already, and obviously, they have Gerard right now and Grant McCray, but I think right field is a spot with no Yaz where they can take a look at someone down the stretch and figure out if he can be part of what they do next season. Another guy I think they might take a look at, or certainly if they definitely fall out of it, fully fall out of it instead of being 6 games out as I tape this. But Jesus Rodriguez, he was the main piece of the Camilo Doval trade, which brought back 4 players. Currently the number 16 Giants prospect. He is 23 years old. He has hit at least 296 in all 6 of his professional seasons, a 308 career hitter in the minor leagues coming into deadline day. So someone that they're very excited about. Buster spoke passionately about him after the deadline. He said, "I know he's not ranked very high, but the guy, all he has done is hit. I think he's been a player that listening to our pro scouting department talk about him, that has kind of come on the scene a little bit later. He has never really been a famous guy, but you're a 308 hitter in the minor leagues. You watch his swing, and he sprays the ball all over the field. We're happy and excited about him. This is someone I think is a really nice fit potentially alongside Patrick Bailey. Giants are confident he can catch. He has played some corner infield in the minor leagues, has a very strong arm, has some work to do behind the plate, and so far has been a DH in AAA. But obviously, there's no action at third base. If you're a San Francisco Giant, Matt Chapman is there. First base, Rafael Devers and Bryce Eldridge. So they need Rodriguez to be a catcher and potentially a partner for Patrick Bailey. I would think maybe we get a look at him later this year, but definitely next year, heading into next season, I think probably a pretty easy call to try to have him be Bailey's backup going into next season. Again, low strikeout rates, not a ton of power from him, but the batting averages, those jump off the charts. Giants prospects don't often come up with that kind of profile. Another guy I wanted to highlight from that trade, again, 4 players in the Doval trade, was left-hander Carlos De La Rosa. He is 17 years old. He was born in 2007, if you'd like to feel old. He is exactly the type of player you want to get in a deal like this. He is purely a lottery ticket. Has thrown 22 professional innings, has 36 strikeouts in those 22 innings. Low 90s fastball, has hit 96 according to scouts. We don't know anything about him, but he is the upside play here. He is the guy that I think we might never hear from again. This might be the last time I ever mention him in a YouTube video. He's 17. He's a pitcher, hasn't thrown a whole lot. Who knows what's going to happen to him? Or we could look up in 2 years and he's thrown 98 now and has a second pitch and a third pitch that's reliable and is one of the best prospects in the system. So who knows? But I love getting this kind of guy in a trade. Teams love getting this kind of guy in a trade. Again, I think there's a wide range of outcomes here, but it is someone that they feel like has a ton of upside, and they're hoping to develop him into someone that I think the Yankees will feel like they probably shouldn't have given up. The other 2 guys in that deal, not as high upside. Parks Harbor, a corner infielder. He is currently on the IL. He was on the IL at the time of the trade. Had a 404 on base percentage in A ball, 6 home runs in 54 games. He has had a very good year. At the same time, he turns 24 soon, and he was an A-ball, so he's pretty old for the level. So you would expect someone who played big-time college baseball. He was drafted out of North Carolina. You'd expect someone like that to go in and do a nice job in A-ball. So we'll see when he gets healthy. The Giants hopefully will push him along a little bit and test him a little bit because he is on the older side for a prospect, especially someone who is an A-ball already. And then right-hander Tristan Vreeling, he was a third-round pick out of Gonzaga in 2022. If you know Trey Wilson of the Richmond Flying Squirrels, does everything for him. Their play-by-play guy, PR, does a lot. Has a podcast, and he had Tristan on it, and he said he grew up in Idaho and Washington State, and he grew up watching Camilo Doval the last couple of years. So he was excited to be part of that deal. He grew up a Giants fan, so already that helps him, right? As he tries to ingratiate himself here. After he got drafted, missed the full season with an elbow fracture. Has a 4.36 ERA across 3 levels this year, about a strikeout per inning. He was in Double A at the time of the trade. Actually faced Richmond right before the deadline, so the Giants got a good look at him. potential back end guy. I mean, you look at Baseball America, MLB Pipeline, they see a guy with just a deep pitch mix. He throws a fastball, cutter, sweeper, slider, curve, and changeup. Possibly a back end starter. We'll see where that goes. Possibly some starting depth there. But the Giants were excited. The velocity was ticking up the last time they saw him. So again, just another arm to add to a system that has lost some arms this year. Traded Kyle Harrison, also has added some depth at the deadline and done a nice job of replenishing and getting some guys behind the Birdsongs and Roops and Wizenhunts of the world. And then finally, the last trade, Mike Yastrzemski to the Royals. They get Junior Marte, not the one who was traded for Eric Miller a few years ago. I know there was a lot of confusion initially. Same name. He is 21 years old. He is also a right-handed pitcher. He had a meniscus issue in the minor leagues that slowed him down a little bit. So 21, he signed out of the Dominican. He's been in the minors for quite a while, but is still an A ball. But a big dude, 6'5", fastball is touch 97. MLB Pipeline views him as a potential back end starter, also someone who could be a nice reliever down the line. But he's had a really good year. 19 starts at the time of the trade, 2.7 ERA, about a strikeout per inning, solid walk rate. So someone the Giants were excited about, and it seems like pretty good work. I mean, guys like Yastrzemski, even though he was beloved in San Francisco, doesn't generally bring a whole lot back at the deadline, just given he'll be a free agent in 2 months and is kind of a platoon piece when right. So don't often get a whole lot back, but seem like the Giants got someone who could, again, be in that starting mix a few years from now, or just give them more starting pitching depth, which you can always use. You can use that in further trades down the line if you don't use it at the big league level. So there are the 8 guys they got back, 7 prospects. We've seen one guy already. I would think we see the other guys from the Rogers trade in September. I think Tidwell especially looks like someone who they probably want to get a look at against big league hitters again. He's on the 40 man already, so that wouldn't be too difficult. And then Gilbert, I really think at some point you throw him out there in right field and see heading into next spring where you need a right fielder. Mike Yastrzemski no longer there. Um, Matos just got optioned out. There are some questions about what his future is with this organization. He's going to come into camp next spring out of options. So I think Gilbert's somebody they probably should also take a look at as well down the stretch. But just wanted to give you guys a brief look at those guys. We'll circle back here on NBC Sports Bay Area on the Giants Talk podcast if any of them get called up. But for now, that is the group the Giants got at the deadline. Not the highest upside group, not top 100 prospects, but a group that they're excited about. And I think the important thing for the Giants currently is that a lot of these guys are close to big league ready or just about big league ready right now. And I think not just now, but in 2026, when we'll see how this season plays out, but they fully intend to be in the mix next year and be much more competitive next season. And I think, have a better odds at the deadline of making the postseason. So a lot of guys that they got at the deadline who can be part of the 26 team, and I think that's important.